Hey everyone, this is your favorite radio host, your only radio host and favorite girl, of course, Corine LaFont, broadcasting to you from the lovely island of Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean on Between the Lines. And you know, I always start my show off being thankful, or some people might say grateful. I am so thankful to be alive, to be breathing, to be awake, to be with the living above ground. And I'm hearing the lovely birds outside. I don't know what they're talking about. I don't speak bird yet. When I do, I'll let you know. But they do sound pretty happy and chirpy. I guess they're making plans, whatever they're doing or planning to hang out. Yeah. So it's beautiful. And I am so thankful to be here. And I am thankful to have a handsome man with me. If you notice, on people on my show, on my guests on my show are handsome or beautiful or pretty, gorgeous. I have only wonderful, great looking people on my show. Okay. So that's why you need to follow it. And his name is Arie Brish. Is that correct, Arie?
Correct. Yes.
Very good. So I got it right the first time. So I'll tick next to my name. All right, so let me tell you a bit about Arie, but what we will be discussing today is entrepreneurship, the way forward in 2019. So why would Arie be a good person to speak about entrepreneurship? Let me tell you why. So Arie Brish services global clients as a groundbreaker in growth strategies, commercialization of new paradigms, change leadership, and turnaround. Arie brings to the table lessons learned and best practices gained from a wide variety of assignments in different industries and across business disciplines. His business acumen includes CEO and GM roles, board of directors, M&A, business development, turnarounds, and change leadership, working with Fortune 500 corporations, entrepreneurial initiatives, consulting engagements, and nonprofits. So that covers a wide range of persons. So those who may be listening today, or who will be listening rather, will be able to benefit from this conversation. So welcome, Arie, to Between the Lines.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, it's great to have you. And I want to go straight into it. 2019, today is the what? Today is the 7th. It's the 7th.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. And it's the end of the first week, 7 days already, I mean, some people are probably already assessing where they are. I know I am, each day goes by because, you realize, oh my God, a year has already gone. What have I done? you go into panic mode. And I just want to let people know it doesn't matter what you have done. You have done great. Whatever you have done great. Don't beat up yourself. Don't feel shame or guilt. Be patient with yourself. Everything happens at the right time for the right reasons. And now that you know that, a year passes in no time, you need to get, what do they say? Rubber hits the road early in the year. Mm-hmm. So entrepreneurship, I've been noticing a sort of trend over the last few years. I've always said, Arie, that entrepreneurship is really the way forward. This dependency on jobs, is really not cutting it. Here in Trinidad, I can tell you recently, a lot of persons have been retrenched, let go, whatever the word may be, from their jobs. And a number of companies are doing the same. And some persons, what I've noticed is that they have gotten very complacent. They have been with a company for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. And really, they haven't really put things in place for their life and their future. And with entrepreneurship, it's you. You are the business is you. You really have to put things in place because you're thinking your children, your future, your family, everything is dependent on you as opposed to having that complacency mindset. Now, what are your thoughts on entrepreneurship being the way forward for 2019 and not reliance on jobs? What's happening in the job market where you are located? Or what you have been observing globally? And do you agree with the point that entrepreneurship is the way forward?
Yes, so thank you for having me, and again, Happy New Year. There are two ways to promote your entrepreneurship spirit, so to speak, and I have done both over my career. Mm-hmm. One way is still when you are working or employed by a corporation or a large employer, and you have a good idea on how to innovate something they do come up with a new product or a new service they have, you can do that inside the company you work for, the employer.
Mm-hmm.
The disadvantage of doing it that way is in many large corporations, the decision-making process to accept a new idea could be long, up to maybe 1 or 2 years. That's very long, but you can still do it. The advantage of going inside a company is once the decision was made, the company normally will have all the resources to execute and make it a success. On the other side of the coin, if you choose to go by yourself, the decision making is almost zero time. You just go and do it. Even if you have a small team, you make decisions over coffee in the coffee break in a few minutes.
Yeah.
So decision making on the strategy is very quick, but in many cases you do not have the funding to execute for the entire project. So you have to go either bootstrap the business, which means you use your own funding or do not pay yourself until the business start to make money, or you go to outside financial partners, so to speak, and raise money so you can execute more freely, hire a few people, pay them salary, etc., etc. So that process of raising money sometimes could take longer than decision making in a large company. So it's kind of a trade-off. The advantage of going on your own as an entrepreneur and owning your own business or your own company, if your idea or your company is successful, the financial rewards are much more significant for you because you are the owner or part owner of this business. And if you take it from zero to $1 million or $1 billion or whatever it is, you have a percentage of this success.
Right.
So your financial reward is much higher than if you do it as an employee inside a company.
Right.
But you have to wait for a few years for this to happen, if it happens.
Yes, if it happens.
Yeah. Right. And the statistic is 1 out of 10. It happens to 1 out of 10. So don't be discouraged if it doesn't happen the first time.
Not at all. Not at all.
Statistically, you have to try 10 times to make it.
Well, what did Einstein do? He did it over 10,000 times.
Yeah. and I know some people that failed multiple times but didn't give up and started something else. And eventually, after 4, 5, 6 times attempts, they succeeded and rewarded themselves.
That's right.
Nicely.
Sometimes you need to take a step back, walk away from it for a while, do something different, and allow your mind to come up with a different strategy, a different way of looking at it. Timing is also important as well. Sometimes what you want to do doesn't happen at that time. And I know as an entrepreneur myself, that has happened to me. There are things that I have tried and it didn't work out at that time. It doesn't mean that it wouldn't work at a particular point in time. It just didn't work at that particular time. And now that you have tried it, probably a year, 2 years, 5 years, even 10 years later, it works because the environment is ripe for it. People are ready. You just have the juices flowing. There's a new strategy, a new way of looking at it. Probably new software came out that allow you to be able to do something different, add more value. There's so many different things. Or people come into your life that you can collaborate with that allows you to pull the whole thing together, because you mentioned resources, we're talking about intellectual property, bringing the minds together as opposed to just you alone going it,
Yeah, absolutely correct, yes.
So entrepreneurship, now, what really is that? Because it's a word that was coined some years ago. It's still recent to me. Somebody might say, I'm going to go into business. Does that make that person an entrepreneur? What really would you define as an entrepreneur, as opposed to somebody who, I don't know, what really would you define as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I don't have a clear definition. But I'll give you an example. In my case, when I was much younger and went to school, to college, I chose a specialty that was the first year that was offered in the entire country, just because it was the first time they offered this program.
Right.
So that kind of shows some entrepreneurship spirit, but not in starting a business, but choosing your specialty in school. And actually I did it twice, and during my education they changed the program, and I had to change my selection of specialty or major. So the second time I also selected something that I didn't know what I'm going into.
That's entrepreneurial.
Just because of that reason. So
you're entrepreneurial. You're a risk taker. You're not. Yeah, it's not like somebody going to school and saying, no, I need to do biology, chemistry, those type of things, because this is what I'm going to do. I'm not going to try anything different,
Yeah, so risk taking is one part of the equation. Even if you don't go to do a business of your own, the risk taking is part of the equation in becoming an entrepreneur. And if you go start your own business, definitely that's the ultimate entrepreneurship that most people view as an entrepreneur. But there you can, there are at least two types of business. One, you go into somewhat mature type of business. Let's say you start a restaurant, or you open a gas station in your neighborhood, or whatever it is. That's one type of entrepreneurship. The other type is something that is totally new idea, does not exist at all, and so you start totally from scratch with a new product that did not exist before, and you come out with this product, and that's the reward in this case. The risk is higher, obviously, because you don't know whether your new idea will be accepted in the market.
Yeah.
But the reward is outstanding if it succeeds in the market, because you start a whole industry basically. If it's a new personal computer, 30 years ago when people started Apple, or I don't know, a smart body watch like a Fitbit of some sort.
Yeah. People are improving. What is happening is that people are improving on what exists, because if you try to think of something new, it already exists in some way or form. So what you really need to do is like look at what is out there, talk to people and find out how can you improve it to make things, one, cheaper, two, accessible, readily available in a form that is light. You're looking at all those different characteristics or traits in order to bring out a particular product, especially if it's a product easy to ship, easy to get to the customer, that type of thing. Now risk taking, I know, is one of the major traits in terms of entrepreneurship. I remember as you were talking, I don't know where I read it, but or heard it. But I remember a simple thing, like for instance, there's this young person that was taking music lessons. He was taking music lessons, and he would come back, he would practice it, and of course, teach persons what he knew and charge them for it. So like he would go to the lessons, come back, teach other people and charge them for it. So that's like a double whammy. He's actually reinforcing what he learned. So because they say if you want to know that you know something, teach somebody what you have learned. So he taught somebody what he learned, what he practiced that particular day, and he made money from it.
Yeah, that's an excellent example. Thanks for bringing it up. The past few years, I spent some time mentoring younger entrepreneurs, and they come to me for advice, but as we have this conversation and brainstorm together, I always learn something new from that young kid that came to seek for my advice. So it's an awesome learning experience for myself to mentor these young entrepreneurs. And I donate few hours a month to this organization.
Yes.
And by the way, the book that I just wrote, Lay an Egg and Make Chicken Soup,
yes,
one of the motivation that I came up with the book is all these discussions I had with all these young entrepreneurs, and what I learned from each one of them, what I knew and what they knew that I didn't know, and what I knew that they didn't know. So it's a mutual learning experience that made me, a few years later, start to write this book. And I did not even intend to write a book. I just wrote notes for myself after each meeting like this, after each mentorship meeting like this. And few months into this process, I realized if I put it all together,
you get a book.
It could make a nice book. Yeah. So
yeah, but that's how it started. One, you never had the intention, and next thing you know, because of your notes, which is why it's important to journal, because you just never know what it can form into. But you mentioned something that's important. Young people, and me giving that example of somebody going and learn lessons and music lessons and coming back to teach. What have you been noticing about the younger minds? Because you've spent a lot of time with the younger people. What's the difference you're noticing in terms of how they think, the way they approach things compared to generations of the past? Do you think, let's put a scenario, do you think if Einstein were to meet them today, people of the past, the Wright brothers, Einstein, those type of people who created the light and flight and all these things, if they were to sit with them today, what would they be saying? Or how would they look at these young people of the 21st, we're in the 21st century, what would they say to them?
Yeah. So the two examples you brought are excellent examples, because what unify all these young entrepreneurs is the fact that they don't have any limits to their imagination of what can be done. If you go into an organization, we started this conversation by, promoting a new idea inside a big organization. Let's say you're an employee of IBM or General Motors, and you come up with a new idea. The first reaction that you get is people will tell you, no, it can't be done. You're dreaming, you're smoking. So the young people, when I worked for a large corporation, I always had interns, students, just because they come up with idea that nobody thought about before, because the people with the experience have their mind boxed in a certain way of thinking. And you have this 20 years student coming and asking so-called stupid question, but turns out the stupid question is not so stupid. It's actually, wow, we never thought about doing it that way. That's excellent idea.
Yeah.
So the same, let's say with the Wright brothers. I mean, people didn't think about moving from point A to point B, not on a horse, but flying in an airplane.
Hello, when they met when the Wright brothers came up with that idea, at that time, in that era, I mean, they were like, flight, are you out of your damn mind?
Yeah,
no, it's only birds fly. No humans can go up in the air. It was fearful. It was fearful for the normal everyday citizen to think of flight. You're out of your mind. That's not going to work. How dare you? As a matter of fact, it was like, it was evil to think of such a thing.
Yeah, you're crazy, right?
Yeah, it was evil, and they're lucky they were not burnt to the stake, because because I'm sure they came against a lot of people fighting them and calling them out all different names for something that seemed, just out there. It's not real. How could you? Even the light, when light was in the house, became something. It was like scary. We're used to a particular thing, and you see, it comes back to that. You're used to a particular thing. How dare you come to say this can happen? And it comes back to vision. To me, it comes back to vision. Then there are some people who walk around on this earth, in this world, that has a sort of thinking, a sort of vision that you have to realize for yourself there's nothing wrong with you, because other people are going to make you feel that something is wrong with you, put you in an institution, wrap you up in the white clothing, stuff you up in a corner. So you have to realize who you really are, the value that you're carrying, and go with your idea, don't matter what.
Yes. So that brings another point, that what I find out with younger entrepreneurs, sometimes they don't, the thing they're lacking is all the details of execution to make this great idea a commercial success. And I think Dell Computer is one good example of when Michael Dell started Dell Computer. He was in his 20s. But he was smart enough to hire all his lieutenants to be executives with experience. So he had the vision, but then all his vice presidents at the time were pretty experienced executives that knew what needs to be done to execute on this vision. And that's what I think made Dell such a success at the time after they started, because he was not shy of hiring people with more experience, 20 years older than him.
But that's what you're supposed to do, and Earl Nightingale talks about that. If you have to recognize that you don't have everything within you, and it's really to leverage the power and the intellectual property of other people. You do what you do best, and hire the best for everything else.
Exactly. So the other thing that triggered my book is when you talk to the young entrepreneurs, they have a great vision. What they're lacking is they don't even know what needs to be done to execute on this vision. So kind of, I called it blind spots. They don't even know what blind spots they have. So my book is kind of a checklist on listing different potential blind spots and spend a few pages on each potential blind spot. So people at least will have a checklist of what they need to worry about when they plan the execution or commercialization of their vision.
I love that. Let's hop across to your book. Give me your website so that we can showcase your book here online. Tell me your website.
Hello.
Spell that for me. I'm here. Okay,
so the website is www.CXO360.net. That's my website, and there is a link to the book.
Okay, hold on. I'm bringing it up. 1 second.
Okay.
I'm bringing it up, and I'm going to share the screen. Just give me a second to do that here, so you will see it show up on. You will see it.
If you want to share the screen of the book, click on there is a tab for the book.
Yeah, so there it is. Are you seeing it on your screen?
Let me see. I see something small. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so I'm seeing CXO360 is a leadership advisory firm with an unparalleled network and numerous measurable success stories. So I'm on your website.
So there is the book link here. Exactly. Click on that.
Yes.
That will bring the book.
No, I don't understand the whole idea of lay an egg and make chicken soup. I mean, I really do.
I played on the chicken and an egg dilemma.
You're right.
but I took it to the next step up after the chicken is a chicken soup.
Really? So you lay the egg and then the chicken is there and then you make chicken. I really don't get that. How could you lay an egg and make chicken soup?
Well, you lay an egg, you grow the chicken, And then you take the chicken and make a chicken soup. Very simple. So it kind of shows the added value. An egg will cost, I don't know, 10 cents.
Yeah.
Then you make chicken soup for 10 people out of one egg, and you can sell it for, $10 or whatever, $20. So you add value over time to the egg that you laid, basically.
I like that, adding value over time. And people need to understand that, Arie. Things happen over time. People are in this sort of get rich quick immediacy, immediate gratification as opposed to delayed gratification. I want it now, yesterday, last year, it's going to take time. There's some things that will happen immediately. And I think we have to reframe the way we look at things. So for example, as you put things into place, as you execute, there will be little things that will happen right now. And you have to look at those as progress, as achievements. It may not be the ultimate $1 million, I can live off of that, I can retire now type of thing, which may take 10 years, 20 years to do. But there are little things, and we have to be able to recognize as entrepreneurs especially, that there's the little things that lead to the big things. And if we don't appreciate the little things, we will not be able to appreciate the big things when it comes. So I like how you said it's added value. So you start with a little egg, which may mean nothing, and it eventually turns into a chicken. You take time and rear the chicken, and eventually you'll be able to, kill the chicken and make chicken soup. And it's the holistic innovation process from concept to market expansion. Is there any sample of your book that you're giving away?
Sample of the book. I have a brochure that kind of have a summary of the book, so to speak.
Where can I find that?
I can email it to you.
Okay, great. Great. Is there any sort of opt-in here? Because what I like to do for my listeners is be able to offer them a way to connect with you and to get more if they need to. How can they contact you? Through the contact us button here, I see.
Click on that. I think my email is there. Yeah, here is my email.
Okay, great. And they can
people can feel free to contact and ask questions or whatever.
Great.
By the way, the book is for the launch period. The price is reduced until mid-January, so we have just over 1 more week, and then it will go to normal. Okay.
What's the price that you're doing now?
I think for the Kindle is $5 and something, and for the paper is $15 and something.
Okay, great.
Mid-January it will kind of double.
Okay, and this is on Amazon, I see here.
Correct, yes.
They're both on Amazon, so you're only selling it on Amazon, not on your...
Right now, yeah, correct.
Okay, great. So lay an egg and make chicken soup. Interesting. Interesting. Arie Brish's new book. And this is the first of many, I anticipate, Arie.
Well, we will see, yeah. I don't view myself as an author. It was more like notes I took over time, and
that's all it takes. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. Yeah, I'm a publisher, and this is what I tell people. I say, listen, all you need to do is journal your thoughts. Every day you just journal your thoughts, whether you write it down, and there's so many apps to be able to do these things. You can record yourself. There's so many different ways of doing it, and before you know it, you have a 200 and something plus page book.
That's exactly what happened to me.
Before you know it, you just jot down your thoughts and it turns into a book. And you might think, like I would say to a lot of my clients, you may think, who would want to read this? It doesn't matter. It may be one person that will be interested, and that person may make just the difference. Yeah? Yes. So Arie Brish's new book, Lay an Egg and Make Chicken Soup. Don't try to figure it out, people. Don't try to figure it out.
And it's not a cookbook. It's a cookbook actually in a sense of
I like that.
how to make a business success, but it's not a cookbook in the sense of how to make chicken soup. No.
Make chicken soup in your business. Make chicken soup with your business. And it has the recipe included, like he was saying, is there is a recipe. If we want to play on the whole cookbook thing, it's a cookbook for your business. So there's a recipe inside that allows you to follow step by step what you
Exactly.
need to be aware of in order to, to shorten the learning curve. And he learned this from dealing with a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs, especially the young-minded ones who are very enterprising and risk-taking. So if you're one of those persons, Lay an Egg and Make Chicken Soup is the book for you. Yeah?
Yes, absolutely. And a recipe metaphor is exactly good because it kind of give you all the ingredients you need to succeed, and just make sure you don't miss on any of them.
That's right. Don't try to put in another recipe, and not another recipe, another ingredient, and end up with something else.
Yeah,
So
don't make any shortcuts because
don't make any shortcuts.
yeah, yeah,
When we're cooking, we do the shortcuts. And we say,
yeah,
let's try this. And next thing you know, we end up with a different result. Not that anything is wrong with that, because that's the testing phase, but
yeah.
try to follow the recipe in Lay an Egg and Make Chicken Soup first. And then you can say, oh, I can tweak this. And when you're tweaking it, please get back to Arie so that he can know that you're tweaking it.
Yeah.
And he may learn something from you, that you have tweaked the stuff in his book and it worked, or it didn't work, or it ended up with a different result, which is probably better. You just never know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing in the book, I gave examples from a variety of industries, and over my career, my experience is you can learn from one industry to another. So a variety, dozens of industries and different regions from the world and what have you. So you can learn from what worked and what didn't work for different examples and try to apply it to your own business.
Very good. And that is important because we need to know, a lot of people are waking up one morning and say, I'm going to just start a business, or a crisis, may have happened to them, like these people who may have been let off from their jobs, and their back is against the wall. They have to start something, and they may be starting to do an inventory of themselves and say, I want to do this or that, but they really don't have the material. So it's good to have a starting point using your book to be able to give them some insight as to how to approach this particular industry or that particular industry. I love that.
Correct.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Arie. This has been very, very good. A very good conversation about entrepreneurship being the way forward in 2019. It's just
Thank you, Corine. Thanks for having me, and Happy New Year to all your listeners again.
Same to you.
Okay.